Welcome to the Reckoning podcast, where we stoke a campfire, gather around, and have real-life conversations with old friends, new friends, professionals, and just shoot the shit. Reckoning all things from hunting, outdoors, beauty, entrepreneurship, relationships, life, and more. It's all just a reckoning. You wrote in to thereckoningpodcast.com/submission, and I received your story. I'm going to read what you submitted so that the audience can get a feel for kind of how we got here in the first place. Aside from following you on social media, I've already been following you. But you wrote in and you said, my story isn't just about losing a leg. It's about finding purpose through the pain. One moment I was out doing what I loved, hunting, living life full speed, and in an instant everything changed. That accident could have ended me, physically, mentally, spiritually. But instead, it woke me up. It taught me that God doesn't waste pain, he uses it. I went from lying in a hospital bed wondering why me, to standing here today knowing exactly why. Because someone out there needs to see that even when life takes something from you, God can give you something greater in return. I'm living proof that your comeback can be stronger than your setback, that faith can rebuild what pain tried to destroy. So that submission really caught my attention, aside from, obviously, I've already kind of been following Hunter. So when I saw who submitted this, I was like, okay, that tracks. I can put a face to the submission and kind of a little bit of a story to what it was. I've kind of just seen, again, like on social media, what little snippets social shares with you of you and your story. So to hear, like, in such a short few sentences in a paragraph, it be so strong and put out there, I was like, okay, Hunter definitely has to come on. We need the backstory on this. But before we get into the backstory, I want to get to know Hunter prior to this submission. How did you get introduced to the outdoors? Is it something you grew up doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, me getting introduced to the outdoors is pretty self-explanatory. My name's Hunter for a reason. My family is huge into hunting. I was thrown on a horse at the age of 3 because that's how we hunt most of the time, was with horses. And so I was thrown on a horse at a very young age, and just my dad led me around, and we hunted every fall that I can remember since, like I said, since I was tiny. And it's just something that's been ingrained in me. And I think if my name was something different, I wouldn't do my story any justice, because it just fits so incredibly well with my accident and my name and everything, which is, it's really interesting to me how I've been able to figure that out and just go about life thinking about, wow, like, this wasn't a coincidence. This is definitely for a reason and a purpose. And so, yeah, that was me. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school as well. So hunting and sports took over my life growing up, for sure. Like, those were my staples. That's what kept me out of trouble on the straight and narrow. And yeah, then I decided to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints in Arizona. And I loved it. I loved Arizona. I was all over Arizona, which was awesome. I got to experience some really cool elk hunting spots in Arizona, which is kind of fun. And then I got home, and 3 months after I got home is when my accident happened. And it was so fast, because it's like I was at the peak of my life. I was 20 years old. I had just done something that was very purpose-filling, growing my relationship with God and our Savior Jesus Christ, and helping other people do the same thing. And so I felt like I was on a high of all levels. And then losing my leg after, having that accident happen, it was just like I hit an all-time low. Like, I was at rock bottom, ground zero. And so that's kind of the backstory leading up to the accident.
Curious, with all that, being a mom of 2 boys, you say you grew up hunting and doing sports. And I believe from what I've seen, you were, like, as far as athlete goes, I did see videos or pictures of you doing football. And that has been something we've been navigating as a family. Is football is
It's
right in the
hunting
midst
season.
of hunting season. I'm
Yep.
curious. I'd love your perspective from someone who's done it. Were you? You weren't someone who chose one or the other. A lot of families do that. How did you
No.
navigate that as, like, a high school athlete?
Yeah. So I recognized that I will have hunting the rest of my life. And
Mhm.
those 4 years in high school, I was like, I know I'm going to make memories. All my friends are on the sports teams. And I'm like, if I just throw that away and, you know, don't do those things, I'm going to regret it the rest of my life because I'll have hunting the rest of my life. And so then I just did it whenever I could. Like I just did sports and did that to the best of my ability. And hunting was kind of was a second option. And sports was priority for sure. But now that I'm out of school and I don't, play sports anymore, I miss it. And so I'm glad that I did it because, like I said, I learned a lot from that too. And sports helped me out a ton with what I've been through as well. So,
I always find it so interesting as we're making our way into high school sports.
hmm
This last year, juggling hunting, and that was quite the ride.
yeah,
And so I love hearing people that have come out of it and were able to do both and what their experiences were, and to hear that it the mindset in which you had for it, and then also to hear, now on the flip side, you can kind of see what lessons you learned from both sports and hunting through what has been thrown at you.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it with how we went about it. I mean, there was some nights where I'd have a football game on a Friday night and we'd be driving a couple hours at midnight, 1 a.m., 2
Yep.
a.m., and waking up at 5 to go hunt. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't change that for anything. Like, I learned so much just from doing that. And so it's definitely worth it. You definitely have to plan, but it's definitely worth it in the end. Because, like I said, I still have friends to this day that I care deeply about who I played sports with in high school. And
Mhm.
so, yeah.
No, that's good to hear, and it's good to hear you wouldn't change anything, and you make me smile hearing your memories because it sounds like my present memories that I'm making with my son. We've spent many days rolling into camp at 2 o'clock in the morning and then getting back up just
Yeah.
to go,
Yeah.
go hunting. And it makes you appreciate both sports, both football and hunting, a lot more for sure.
A lot more, definitely.
And then you were in Arizona, and you kind of got the perfect way to get introduced to elk hunting while you
Oh,
were out there.
yeah, I mean, my family, we're big mule deer hunters, like,
Mhm.
because I'm from Utah. There's a lot of mule deer hunting in Utah, and we get elk tags here and there, but it's very seldom. Like, it's hard to get tags out here unless you do over the counter or unless you do a spike tag or a cow tag over the counter. But other than that, getting a big bull tag is pretty difficult out here. So I didn't grow up doing a ton. And so going to Arizona and getting in like the heart of like true elk hunting culture up in there, up in like Show Low and Snowflake and Flagstaff and all those places out there was
Okay.
awesome. Um, and so yeah, it was just super cool. It was really really fun, and it helped me not be as homesick being away from home for sure. So
Mhm. A lot of people that don't live in Arizona oftentimes forget that Arizona is not just like Phoenix desert hotland.
I spent my time there too, and I'm grateful I went to the mountains first.
Yeah.
So.
Was there something that you learned from the locals about elk that maybe you didn't know being from Utah?
It's interesting because I mean, I would I would just talk elk hunting with them like crazy whenever we'd go visit. And it's different. Like the elk in Utah are different than the elk in Arizona. I
Mhm.
don't really know how to put that. Just the way that they act and the way that they are. You know, it was just going through different scenarios with them was pretty interesting. Like, um, because I feel like in Arizona you're not really hunting huge mountains like deep canyons. It's a lot flatter, and in Utah it's pretty much the exact opposite. Like to find a big bull, you go to the very top of the mountain in the deepest darkest canyon, and there he is. But it's like in Arizona, they're just you could run around in the flats and he's right there, and you'd never know it. And so it was interesting to hear their side of the stories and just um, yeah, just different ways that they've called in elk during the rut and stuff like that. It was just dumbfounded to me because I'm like, it almost seemed too easy. I'm like, it almost seemed too easy the way elk hunting is in Arizona compared to Utah. Um, I definitely would be going back one day to elk hunt in Arizona.
That would be rad. Have you since got an elk tag here in Utah and been able to implement anything?
Unfortunately, no, because like I said, right after I got home from serving my mission, that's when my accident happened. I haven't been able to do a whole ton. The year after my accident, I had a prosthetic and things were going good. And I killed a mule deer, a whitetail, and an antelope that year. And last year, this last year I've had a lot of complications, and so I didn't really get to hunt last fall at all. This fall I should be good to go. So I'm hoping to get an over-the-counter tag this year. That's my goal. So is to kill a bull with my bow.
Yes, right? The ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
You've brought up your accident several times now that we've kind of got the backstory of you and being in
Yeah.
Arizona, and then you came back. When you say came back home, you came back to Utah
Yeah.
and your accident occurred. You said 3 months
Three
after.
months after. Yeah.
Can you
Pretty
walk
pretty
us
soon.
through?
Yeah. So, um, I got home in August, from Arizona after I spent 2 years there. So then, right when I got home, I just started working right away. I didn't really know what to do. I'd kind of ask God, like, what should I do? Should I go to school? Should I work? Didn't really get any answers, and so one thing I learned on my mission was just to take a step forward in faith, and God will help direct you from there. And so that's kind of what I did, and I took a step forward. And I just decided to work and make money. And as I did that, I was like, yeah, I felt like I was making the right choice, and things felt good. And I was working as an electrician, as a concrete laborer, and that's hard work, but it was worth it for me. It kept me super busy. And I did that for about 3 months, and we were getting ready to go on a trip actually to the North and South Dakota border, because we're big upland game hunters too. We do a ton of bird hunting, and so we had planned this North and South Dakota trip to go out there and hunt turkey, grouse, pheasants, like anything, you name it. And right as we were getting ready to leave, I told my dad, I'm like, I think I'm gonna quit my concrete job. It's great. It's just not what I want to do. And like when we're on this trip, I'll think about what I want to do when we get back, and we'll kind of go from there. He's like, sounds good, like I trust you. So I ended up saying, hey, I'm gonna leave 2 days before we left on this trip to South Dakota. And what do I do 2 days before we leave? I'm like, why don't I go hunting the day before we leave on a South Dakota trip for a whole week? So that's what I did, and it was me and my cousin that went hunting, and we went to this spot that's super super familiar because we were duck hunting. My cabin's right on this lake, and so super familiar with this area. I was like, we'll go kill a limit, come back, I'll pack, we'll go, and I'll go to South Dakota. And that was kind of my plan. And so I woke up and went, and like I said, it was perfect morning. Like probably one of the most beautiful mornings to this day I've had of duck hunting in general. Like there was dew on the leaves, fog coming up off the lake, not a single ounce of wind, ducks flying around everywhere, and we were like the only ones on the whole entire lake. I was pretty surprised, and so it was just like a too good to be true kind of morning. And so, like I said, as soon as we got all of our stuff cleaned up, killed our limit, and we were sitting there, and we see these ducks kind of flying around the corner from us, and I was like, let's go check that out. So that's what we did. We went and checked it out, and I led the way. And I was about 10 yards ahead of him, and right as we got to the top and crest of this hill, his gun goes off and shoots me right in the back of the leg. And I knew exactly what had happened. I knew that I had been shot. Like I knew that it just my mind was just like we were the only two people up there, and I was just kind of like, oh shit. Like I was like, this is not good. My mind started to freak out just like that, like the oh shit moment. I was like, oh no, this is not good. And it was really bad. I freaked out for about 10 seconds, and then God was like, dude, you need to calm down. You're gonna be fine, And I kind of felt like I knew what I needed to do, and I knew exactly where service was, and service is like 100 yards up the hill. And I was like, okay, I need to get to that spot. And I go to stand up, and my leg is completely numb from my knee down. Can't feel my foot, calf, nothing. Like just no feeling whatsoever. Just gives out. And so I start hobbling up the hill to get to the service. I get about halfway there, and my cousin starts screaming at me, saying, like, you need to get on the ground, you're bleeding really bad. And by the way, I'm wearing waders too, and I'm bleeding through my waders. So that's how bad I'm bleeding, that it's going through my waders. And as we're sitting there on the ground, I pull my phone out to see if we have service, and we have one bar. And I'm like, we never get service here, ever. And so that was a miracle in itself. And he saved my life that day too. Even though he made a mistake in an accident, he ripped my waders off, ripped my pant leg off, and put a tourniquet on my leg, just with a stick and a shirt that he learned from Boy Scouts. Crazy. And because theoretically I should have bled out. I had 4 blood transfusions later down the road in the hospital. I lost a lot of blood, and so he saved my life that day for sure. So as soon as he got the tourniquet on me, we called the police department 3 different times, and we lost service to them 3 different times. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And every time we'd pick up, they'd be like, hey, this is 911. And right as I said that, the call would drop every time. Like, call failed. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then we called my mom. We told my mom what happened. My mom called my dad, and my dad called the police department up there, and they got there within 30 minutes. It was pretty fast, but 30 minutes is a long time, just to be laying on the ground, bleeding like I was. And I just remember sitting there, and it felt like the longest but shortest 30 minutes of my life. I don't really know how to explain it. It was just kind of like my whole life was playing on a film reel, where all these moments from the earliest I can remember to that present moment of sports, my family, my mission, all these things were just flashing through my head, like my best memories. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, is this how you die? You just have this film reel of what's happening throughout your whole entire life, all the great memories and moments that you've had. And I kind of remember as soon as that ended, I kind of came back to, and I heard the ambulance coming around the lake, and I was like, okay, they're close. And I remember at this time, it's probably been 30 to 40 minutes after the accident. And so my adrenaline's kind of wearing off. I'm in a lot of pain. And I just remember I just wanted to pass out and go to sleep. I just want to pass out and go to sleep, because I do not, like, it would hit me hard, just the pain alone. And so I remember I laid my head back just to go to sleep, and God told me, I knew it was God. He said, if you close your eyes, it'll be the last time that you do. And I was like, holy crap. Like, that thought just came to my head like that, super quick. And so I was doing everything I could to stay awake. I was doing everything I could to come to and to not fall asleep and to not pass out. And as I did that, I was just like, I still this day don't know what happened if I would have closed my eyes. I don't know if I would have died or not, but I assume, since he told me not to, I don't know how that really works, but I just knew that was God telling me that. And I remember as soon as they got there, they checked me out, the ambulance and the first responders, they were checking me out. And thankfully, it's only my left leg that got shot below the knee. And they put me on a tarp, and they were life flighting me. They got me to a helicopter, life flighted me. And as I was getting on the helicopter to be life flighted, another voice came in my head and said, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, everything's going to work out. And I was like, okay, like, I trust you, God. Like, if that's what you're going to tell me, then I trust you with however this works out. And so we get to the hospital, we get right on the landing pad, and as they roll me out of the helicopter, my parents are right there. And the first thing that comes out of my mom and dad's mouth was, hey, it's going to be okay, it's going to work out. Like, back to back, boom, boom. And I was like, okay, like, that's definitely God speaking. It's going to work out, it's going to be okay. And at this time, by the way, like, I had no idea, no clue that, like, I was going to get my leg amputated. They took me right into emergency surgery because my leg was swelling so bad that they had to do what's called a fasciotomy. And so they basically cut my leg open from my ankle all the way to my knee, just flap it open, almost like you're skinning a deer. Pretty gnarly. And so they had to go back in and do that on the other side. So they did that on the outside and the inside. And they didn't really know how bad anything was. They were doing a bunch of tests, trying to figure out. They were like, obviously you have nerve damage, because I couldn't feel my foot, couldn't feel my toes, nothing. Couldn't even move it. And so as the days went on, my leg just progressively got worse. So by day 10, my leg had started dying, where they had to take me in for another surgery to do debridement and debride muscle and tissue that was dying. And then a couple days later, I got super, super sick, like to the point where I had 104-degree fever for a week. And they told me, like, hey, you have two options. Like, you either need to get your leg amputated or you're going to die because your body is killing itself because of the toxins that are being let off in your body from this dead muscle tissue and your leg dying. Basically, like, almost had sepsis is pretty much what they told me. And I was like, wow, that's not really a decision. But okay, well, we'll go for it, I guess. And so we went along with the amputation, and it was hard. It was really, really hard because, if I had an identity card that explained who Hunter Rasmussen was at that time, it was the 3-sport athlete, the outdoorsman, the kid who is always out doing something, always outside, always working. Like, that was me. And I felt like after this accident, that was ripped up and thrown in the garbage. Like, had no idea really who I was after this. It took me a long time to, like, figure out, like, who am I now? And so it was hard. It was really, really hard. But as time went on, it was a miracle. They let me go out of the hospital as soon as I did. My leg miraculously kind of just stopped dying. They thought I was going to keep going up higher, and it stopped. And so I thank God for that, because I know that was God as well. And, I was able to spend Christmas and New Year's with my family that year when they thought I was going to be there almost till February. And so that was 2.5 years ago, going on 3 years in this upcoming November. So pretty crazy.
That is quite the story. And that's when you submitted to me. I'm like, I would love to hear the full story behind it, because I'm sure for you it's very surreal going back and reliving it and then maybe remembering certain things and certain whispers and guidance that was given to you in those moments.
For sure. Yeah.
A game changer in piece of gear for both myself and my family has been utilizing digiscoping. If you're not familiar, real quick, digiscoping is when you use your phone to capture photos or videos through your spotting scope or binoculars. And if you're wanting the best and most simple system to digiscope with, All In is hands down it. If you're out in the field and want to capture the moment through your optics without fumbling around or missing the shot, All In has you covered. What I love most is how seamless and user-friendly the system is. Like, seriously, so easy to use. My oldest son, Cooper, and Rivers has used it before, but Coop was using it to film my bear hunt. It's that easy. He was able to capture the shot, follow the bear, and that way we were able to go back, look at the shot placement, and then where the bear went. And then, of course, when Cody got to us, we were able to relive those memories with him all over again. And now I can look back at that footage and watch it forever. It's been especially awesome for hunting with kids. You can show them exactly what you're seeing and then relive it later with clear and steady footage. It's a whole new level of connection and storytelling in the outdoors. And they just dropped their brand new Nexus system, which gives you a quick connect, universal fit across multiple optic setups, and you can connect it to your gun. It's built to be even faster, lighter, and more adaptable, perfect for when every second counts in the field. So whether you're chasing big game, scouting with the kids, or just want to document your hunts with ease, All In is a no-brainer. Head to allin.co and use our code RECKONING for 10% off your order. That's Allin, OLLIN.co, and use our code RECKONING for 10% off.
Sure.
Are there things when you look back on that you think like, "Oh, I learned this lesson or this happened leading me up to my accident to prepare me for this?"
Yeah, there's so many, like I said, like with sports, and especially with my mission, learning about more about myself and who God is, and know more about my Savior Jesus Christ, because we know that Jesus Christ suffered and died for us, not just for our sins, but for our aches and pains and every trial that we go through in this life. He knows how we feel. And so coming to know that on my mission, like, really truly put me into perspective of, like, I'm not alone in this. Even though I might not know anyone that's going through this exact same thing like I'm going through right now. I know someone who has and who's felt my pain, and that's Jesus Christ. And so my mission was very foundational for me. It was something that I like. If I were to build a house, like that was the concrete at the bottom for me. Just really foundational moment. And then, like I said, with sports and stuff, like especially wrestling. I wrestled in high school. Wrestling helped me out a ton with just the mental fortitude to keep going and to truly push myself, because even to this day, like I'm still having complications. I go to work every day on crutches. I go to the gym every day on crutches, and it sucks. Like my hands are beat up, and my hands are super calloused. Like my shoulders hurt, my wrists hurt. Everything hurts every day because of being on crutches for as long as I have been. But I'm like, I don't have a choice. Like if I stop, that's when I stop. Like I'm not gonna want to keep going, and so like I have to continually push myself each and every day. And I've realized as I do that, it gets easier. Like it's just your body's just like, okay, time to go, time to get up, time to keep moving, and that's what sports taught me too. Like all those early mornings, everything that I did with weight training and practices in 110-degree heat, or sucking weight for wrestling when I was trying to drop 30 pounds in a month, like all those lessons I learned from sports are another foundational thing for me that, like I said, I wouldn't go back and change, because I know that those were put in my life for a reason. So,
Is there anything that you can think that you brought from hunting to your healing journey now?
yeah, for sure. Like, for me, the days that I struggle the most are the days that I just want to be in the mountains. Like, I think, I keep seeing these Instagram reels where it's like God's not just in churches, and I love that because it's true. Some of my most spiritual moments that I've had on this earth have been on my horse or on top of a mountain, talking with God. And so I like the mountains are, even this week, like I've gone on 2 horse rides just because I've had a lot on my mind and a lot of things that I have coming up. I have another surgery in May, and so there's a lot of stresses and worries on my mind. And when I go to the mountains, it's just like those stresses and worries are gone. It's just things that I'm just like, it's just brings so much peace into my life. Um, that's what I would say. There's so many things I could say, but that's the biggest one for sure.
It sounds like hunting and getting outside is almost more
Therapy.
for your mind and soul than it is for your
Oh,
body.
for sure. It's definitely therapy for me. Yeah.
What things have you done to get back to feeling a little more like you or finding your new normal?
Yeah. I had to recognize that, because like I talked about it a little bit. I kind of feel like my identity was gone, and I had to break it down to the very bare minimum basics of who am I. And I'm like, okay, well, for one, I'm a son of God, and I know that for a fact. I know that I was created in His image, and that's pretty special. And so I had to break that down just to the very basics of like, who truly am I at my core. And that was one. And then from there, I'm like, okay, I'm still Hunter Rasmussen. I'm still an outdoorsman. I might not be able to play sports like I used to, but I still love sports. And it's just, I made it way too complicated on myself for the longest time, when life really truly is about simplicity. Like the more simple you can make life, sometimes the easier it can be. As I think as human beings, we complicate so many different things, especially me. Like for the longest time, like I said, I complicated it so much when I was just like, it's just really simple. So
Do you feel like you mentioned your identity card
yeah,
and someone ripped it up and essentially threw it away? Do you think now that you're almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years into this, do you feel like it's been taped back together and given to you, or do you think you've been handed a new one?
I think I've definitely been handed a new one, which I wouldn't change that for the world now. Uh, I think definitely it took me a while to make that new one, but I feel like my old one was made of paper that was super easy to rip, and this one's like a metal card that is not going to be able to break very easily. because of everything that I've been through, just with my accent and everything. Like, I know, like I said, for one, I'm a son of God. For two, he has a purpose, and there's a purpose in this life. Like, we're all here for a reason. That's why I love coming on podcasts and sharing my story, because I'm sure there's a reason why you started this podcast, or something in your life that came about. You're like, oh, I want to start this podcast, and I want to share. I want to share other people's stories, and like, we all have a purpose and a reason of why we're here. And so for sure, like, mine is definitely new. It's new and improved. So yeah.
What does that look like now? Because it sounded like heavy in the sports and a hunter.
hmm
What
Yeah.
does it look like now and moving forward?
hmm I would just say, for me, I'm still an outdoorsman for sure, right? Um, I would say I strive now to be someone who, when they see me, like, I reflect someone who has faith, someone who just has pure faith. Not just in Jesus Christ and God, even though that's super duper important, but just in everything, like, just in life. Like, I have faith that it's just going to work out. Like, why can't it work out? Someone who's optimistic. Like, I'm probably one of the most optimistic people I've ever met. Me and my mom joke about this all the time. She's very like, what if this, what if that? I'm like, well, I'm just always like, what if it works out? Like, it's supposed to work out. Like, why won't it work out? And that's a mom's job for sure. Just, I speak a lot now too. I would consider myself a speaker for sure. And when you think about what the essence of a speaker is, like the actual box, like a mechanism of a speaker is just playing the music, right? Like, the music isn't coming from the speaker, it's coming from the phone or whatever that device is that's being played from. And for me, like, I'm the speaker and God is the device in the phone. Like, I just share whatever he wants me to share with anyone. And, that for the majority has been my story. And I go speak at youth groups, events, different people that want me to come share my story. And, like, I consider myself a speaker now. So that's kind of like the three main ones that I would say. Um, my faith, and I'm still an outdoorsman, and I'm definitely a speaker, like a person who has a purpose and a story to tell to help others.
What advice would you give to people that are in a tough spot? It sounds like obviously you've leaned a lot on your faith, and maybe not everybody has a deep faith or religion. Is there something else that you really leaned into to help get you out of that funk,
Yeah.
or advice you'd have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Faith is important for sure. Um, and I highly encourage anyone who may not feel like their faith is super strong to grow a relationship with God, however that looks like for you. I'm not saying to pick one religion or the other, but whatever that might look like for you, as soon as you truly just choose God and you put him in your life, like, your life will change. That's one thing. And the second is, like, I've started at ground zero multiple times. Like, I've had 5 surgeries this last 8 months of this year, and I've started at ground zero. I felt like so many different times. Like, literally after every surgery, I'm like, well, here we go again. We're back at ground zero. And I just start with the basics. I set up myself a schedule where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, then this, then this. And that for me is like, I'm going to go to the gym. Then as soon as I can go back to work, I'm going to go back to work. And then when I come home, I'm going to work on this and this, and then I'm going to bed. And you just set yourself in a routine and a schedule. I think the human brain just works so much better on a set routine and schedule instead of just being like, oh, I have so much to do today. Like, maybe I'll do that and then do this. Like, setting a schedule and a routine is huge for me. So that's what I would do.
A routine helps immensely. And I'm always like, get in a routine. And when's the last time you showered?
Yeah, serious.
Right?
Yep.
What does your day-to-day routine look like?
Yeah. So right now I get up at 3:45 every morning. I get to the gym about 4:15, and then from 4:15 to 6 I'm at the gym, and then I come home and get ready, and then I work at 7. Then I work from 7 to 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And then, depending on the day, I'm either watching my siblings play sports or helping my parents out there they need help with. Like I said, we have horses, so I'll either go on a horse ride or I'm feeding the horses or, you know, hanging out with friends. So I like to do everything. I like to do everything early in the day. So, at the end of the day, if I want to
Yeah.
do something fun and I don't have responsibilities, I can go do something fun to kind of end the day. Um, but that's pretty much my schedule. Like my staple is like I have to go to the gym early, and just that's another like therapy for me is the gym for sure. So
It sounds like you are similar to me where we thrive in like busy and routine.
yes, for sure, for sure.
You know how it goes. Your adventure is only as strong as your recovery and then your energy to start it. That's why I've been loving Mountain Ops' naturally sweetened line. If you haven't heard yet, I know so many people, including myself, have wanted there to be a naturally sweetened line when it comes to the favorites, Hydrate and Ignite. They are naturally sweetened with Reb M and monk fruit. They're just as effective with hydration and energy to fuel the day. Whether I'm working out, working, hunting, chasing the kids, or just trying to stay on top of everything, I always have a packet in my bag of either the Hydrate or Ignite and or both. Sometimes they stack really well, meaning you can mix them. Even my kids ask for the Hydrate sticks when we're on the go, especially when we've been out hunting or camping and obviously after their sports sessions. And let's talk about their new product drop. I have been waiting months for this. I may or may not have gotten some inside scoop, and I'm excited. It's their clear protein. This is their new Magnum Clear Whey. It is so refreshing. So, what you do is you mix it with water, and it makes more of a protein water, if you will. It's light, fruity, not chalky or milky at all, and it's low lactose. Perfect for after a hot hunt or hard gym session. I'm kind of excited to try making like a protein jello with this. I think could be really fun for meal prep or just making like a refreshing smoothie or refreshing drink at the end of the day. What does it look like? It honestly looks like after you mix up Ignite or Hydrate. So it's a scoop of this clear whey protein with water. And like I said, you mix it, you froth it, wait a couple minutes because it does get a good froth. And then I mix it one more time and it looks similar to like a Hydrate or an Ignite. You get 23 grams of protein that doesn't feel like a shake. Seriously, it's a game changer for these hot months and just a new way to shake up your protein shakes. We also keep on hand always our immune gummies, slumber, and performance bars on rotation for the whole family. We love their hoodies and gear just as much as their supplements too. Mountain Ops is built for real people who live hard, love the outdoors, and want to feel their best while doing it. Head to mountainops.com and use our code BRIT for 20% off your order. Plus, every purchase helps donate a meal to a child in need. That's mountainops.com and use our code BRIT, BRITT, to stock up and give back. Your feet do more miles than your boss's Cybertruck. I mean, shit. You go off road, uphill, and in and out in the dark. Treat them like it. That's why I trust Sheep Feet. And now they've leveled up again with performance socks that actually hold up in the field. Breathable, supportive, and built to pair with custom orthotics. Sheep Feet are known for these. They are 100% customized to your feet. Every pair is different. Their process creates a precise mold of your foot, which means your orthotics aren't just supportive, they're made to work as hard as you do in the field. They are handcrafted in the USA. Every pair gets the care and attention your feet deserve. But Sheep Feet doesn't stop at orthotics. They've been expanding their gear game and now they've dropped brand new performance socks and I'm already obsessed. They're like buttery, airy, and smooth. You could like I can't explain it. Put them on your feet and let me know. These socks, like I said, are breathable, supportive, and built for the long days on your feet, whether you're hiking or running around day to day. I love that they're dialed in for hunters, but still just as functional for training or chasing kids around. They also make my favorite hoodie of all time, the Hideout hoodie. Guys, I'm telling you, if your girl's going to be hunting with you or hiking, get her this damn hoodie. You'll thank me and she'll thank me. The more comfortable she is, the longer she wants to stay out there. And you need one too, because Cody loves it just as much. You've seen me wearing this constantly. I have it in black and green. It's built from grid fleece, so it keeps you warm when you're glassing and breeze when you're on the move. The Sherpa-lined hideout pocket is wind and waterproof, and in making it a built-in hand warmer. It's got zipper pockets, thumb holes, and a high neck zip. all the things that a girl could want. I wear it for hunting, at the gym, and honestly, when I just need to hide from life. And if you haven't checked them out yet, don't sleep on the Stealth Bombers. They're ultra lightweight, silent stocking shoe built for performance and precision. These are an archery hunter's dream. The people behind this company are incredible and they've thought of everything. Don't settle for anything less than custom. Head to sheepfeetoutdoors.com and use code RECKONING for 10% off. And yes, Sheep Feet are HSA and FSA eligible. Tell them we sent you and use code RECKONING for 10% off. I'm curious, you've mentioned obviously the gym and then getting back outdoors. How have you adapted to getting back outdoors?
Yeah.
Can you like think of one of your first hunts since your accident and how that changed?
hmm Yeah. So, um, trying to think. My first animal I killed actually was my antelope. Yeah, it was my antelope because it was September. It was out just out here in the West Desert in Utah, and I remember my leg felt great the day before. Like I was wearing a prosthetic, it felt great, and I woke up the next day and my leg was like throbbing for like no reason, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like this is opening day of this hunt, and I'm like, whatever. Thankfully, we're just hunting from the truck because that's kind of how you hunt them out there. And I remember I could barely walk. Like it was really bad. I was in a ton of pain. I remember I probably shouldn't say this, but I popped like 4 ibuprofen and 2 Tylenol because I'm like, I really want to hunt today. And so we get out there and we're riding around. And I remember like I was so in the moment that I kind of forgot about it. And we see a group like 500 yards, and I hop out, and I have a permit to where I can shoot out of the truck, even though I don't like to. But what I did is I set up on top of the truck instead of shooting out the window. So I hopped out, hopped in the back, I set up on top of the truck, and like that first step I took, I was like, oh my gosh, because I was just in so much pain. And I remember I shot it, first shot, and I couldn't even walk out there to go get it, to even take a picture of it. Like I was in that much pain. I remember that was super frustrating for me, but it was like a monumental moment where I'm like, this will get better. Like things are going to get better to where I'll be able to do that again. So fast forward a month, I was on my deer hunt and it had snowed a foot where we were hunting, and we were on horses, thankfully. And I had shot my deer opening morning at a foot and a half of snow to a foot of snow with a prosthetic isn't very ideal either. Trekking through the snow to quarter out my deer and to do everything like that wasn't the funnest, but it was something that was like, this is why I do it. Like, this is why I hunt, is for these kind of moments. And then about a month later, I shot my whitetail in Wyoming, and that was a super easy hunt. We just hunted from the trucks again, and he was out in the field. Yeah, it's definitely different, especially with riding a horse. Like the weight balance is so much different. I have to slide my saddle a little bit more to the left than the right. I can't really center it, because I have more weight on my right side than my left. Especially right now when I'm not wearing a prosthetic, I still, like I said, I still go ride, and I put my horse right along my truck, and I hop in my bed, and then I hop on my horse because I really can't get up any other way, and so my balance is really off when I'm riding horses. But it's like I said, like if you love to do something, you'll figure out how to do it. Like that's with
Totally.
anything in life. Like if you really want something, you'll figure it out how to do it. Like that's with anything, like starting a business, or when it comes to hunting, or like anything. Like if you like if the human brain, like you truly want something, you will figure it out. And so that's something that I've learned, especially when it comes to hunting. Like there's a lot of things that I've had to do differently, and I've kind of named a couple, but it's worth it because I love doing those things. So
It sounds like each time you went to, like you've learned a lesson and maybe adapted a little bit. I'm curious, is your horse like your horse that you've had for a while and prior to the accident and still have?
um yes, yeah. So I actually just got a 3-year old. Um so I right when I got home from serving my mission, she was just brand new. But I rode her a lot last year, and we had a lot of fun times together, me and her on the mountain. But her mom is the one that I ride a lot, and she's 11 now, but so she's kind of in her prime right now, and so I ride her most of the time, especially with um, not having my prosthetic because my 3-year-old gets a little crazy sometimes, and I can't really afford to get bucked off right now.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, we've pretty much had the same horses since before my accident, and so I think they all know who I am when I'm walking out there in the field with my knee crutch on and my crutches, and they're like, "Oh, this guy again." So,
I was just curious because horses are so smart. So I was curious if
oh
you
yeah,
feel like they've kind of leaned in and adapted for you, or and maybe you can sense a change with them.
yeah. Well, it's kind of funny that you say that. There's one horse specifically. He was 11. He was the same age as my other one. He died unexpectedly last summer, just super weird, just dropped dead. We think he had like a heart attack. But he would specifically, like, if I got off to go to the bathroom, or if I had to get off for whatever reason, like with shed hunting, get off and pick up a horn. Like sometimes other horses would just kind of like walk off and start eating grass, but he would specifically wait there and look at me and just wait for me to get back on him, and then he'd be like, okay. And so they are very, very smart, but he's the only one that really did that. All the other ones are kind of like, whatever. But yeah, so
Oh, I love that. I'm always curious to see how animals they just can sense things, and it's interesting watching
yeah.
about
No,
animals. So I was curious
my
that way.
my two dogs, my two hunting dogs, they're both wire hairs. They for sure like could tell a difference. Like my so one's my sister's and one's my dad's, and we both have them at the house. And my sister's, she was pretty new. Like she was only 6 or 7 months old after my accident, and she could definitely tell because she would get super excited when everyone else be jumping on them, and then she'd come to me and she'd be super quiet and like not really jump on me like right after my accident. So it is funny how animals can sense something's wrong or when something's different. So
Yeah, they definitely can. I'm wondering when you look ahead now, because
mhm.
again, you're a couple years out. It sounds like you're getting to where you're getting less surgeries than last year. You're feeling very hopeful about the coming fall. What are you most excited about experiencing in the outdoors again?
Yeah, I think for me, what I'm most excited for is I think just being able to walk up and down a mountain and kind of forget that I even lost a leg. Because with my prosthetic, like I had, like every step I took, I was in pain. If it was flat ground, uphill, downhill, side hilling, whatever, I was in pain, major pain every step. And so it was like a reminder every time I took a step, where it's like I know I'll get to the point one day where I'll be walking or I'll be riding my horse or wherever I'm in the mountains, and I'm not even to remember, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, like I just know it's going to happen. But I think that's the most, because like I said, like when I'm in the mountains, it's just like I don't really think about anything else. Like all my worries and stresses are gone. I can just think clearly. It feels like my mind's not as cloudy and crowded, and so I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. Which is kind of sad to say, but it's the truth. So
That makes me smile for you because I can feel that energy from you, and I really hope that you get to feel that and have that moment of just being instead of having that little extra thing to worry about.
right, yeah, thank you.
Having your accident happen while hunting and outdoors, are there things that you like advice or things you've thought about that would be helpful for hunters to have? And obviously, it sounds like clearly you're grateful that your cousin knew how to make a tourniquet.
Yeah,
What things would you say for safety measures for hunters listening?
yeah. No, this is great because I have no resentment towards him. It was a complete accident. I forgave him right away, and so um, there's a couple different things. I would love to teach a hunter safety class one day, like a gun safety class, because I'm a prime example. I think for one, you always have to know where your gun's pointed. That's huge. Like that's one thing that I look back and I'm like, there's really three things that have to happen. Like one is like where your gun's pointed, and the second is it on safety, and the third is obviously you have to pull the trigger, right? But it's like if you just do two out of those three things, like you save yourself quite literally. Like if your gun's pointed, or even if you know where your barrel's pointed and your gun's on safety and you pull the trigger, it doesn't matter. Like so that's those three things are huge. And I think knowing how to do a tourniquet is huge too. It's kind of crazy. This last fall, one of my coworkers that I work with, he was skinning an elk, and he just got a brand new. Holy cow! I just forgot the name of the knife, but it was brand new, and he was skinning it, and it slipped, and he literally jabbed it right into his thigh, and this knife was like 6 inches long, and he said thankfully like the guy that he was with knew to do a tourniquet because he was like I probably would have bled out like if he didn't know how to do tourniquet. So I think there's just things not even with guns, but like I don't know, you could slip and fall and cut yourself so many different ways, especially on like a rock, or you're crossing a fence and you slip and cut yourself on a T-post on barbed wire. You just never know. So I think tourniquet is huge for sure. Um, yeah, gun safety is important though, like very, very important. So
Yeah.
those are the main
And
two I'd say.
definitely. And it sounds like you guys are very lucky that you had service as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like if you have an inReach, that would be a huge thing too. Especially if you're somewhere where you don't have service and you know you won't. Like I go to the UNS um, every so often, and someone always brings an inReach because out there you have zero. So um, for sure, if you don't have service, it's definitely huge to have that. So
Yeah. I definitely appreciate you being willing to share your story and walk through that day with us because it is, like you said, it just takes one thing to go wrong. And a lot of times, as we get older, too, I find that we get very complacent. And like you said, the gun safety, the tourniquet, knowing simple things when you're going out. Th Your story is just a really good reminder and a good conversation to have with your buddies, your kids, and just a reminder for yourself as you're going outdoors. So I do appreciate you sharing that and giving us those tips and lessons that you've learned along the way, as well as the healing that it's taken you to get to this conversation today is very incredible. And I've loved getting to watch your story and see you power through things and get to one day hear about the moment where you do go outside and you forgot that you've got the prosthetic and you're just enjoying nature for what it is. I look forward to that, to seeing that real.
thank you, thank you. That means a lot. Seriously,
Yeah.
I appreciate being able to have me on and to share my story. I just want to share one more thing. Like I think in life we definitely, I mentioned this earlier, we go through things for a reason. And if you're going through something right now you really don't understand, I think it's important to just remember that you will make it through. I've lost some people recently in my life um, to suicide and different things like that, and mental health struggles. I have tons of people that I know that deal with mental health struggles, and it's a real thing. It's real. So just a reminder to keep pushing forward, to keep going. I promise you, it does get better. I've been at the deepest, darkest pit, the lowest of lows, and it's not fun and it's not easy. But I promise you, it's only up from there. And so that's kind of the last thing I want to say before we leave this podcast. But yeah,
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that and saying that. I was going to see if we could do some quick round fire questions before we leave because it
Yeah,
has been one of those
for
deep
sure.
podcasts. So I always kind of love to end it with a fun note. It's fun to get to know you a little bit. And that was one of those things, was give some advice. So that was the perfect segue for that. So if you're down, I'll
Thank you.
just ask you a few more questions.
For sure.
I'm curious because I don't know if you're familiar with podcasts, but we love food around here on Reckoning, and we love to be able to make recipes with our wild game. What's the
Yeah.
best wild game meal you've had?
Oh, geez. This might be a hot take, and I might get crap for this, but it's okay. One of the best, one of the best meals I've ever had was an antelope my dad killed in Colorado long time ago. But he made it when I was probably like 12, 13. And they always say don't shoot an antelope when it's moving or when it's on the run. That's something to meat where it doesn't taste good. And so he shot this at like 700 yards when it was laying down, dropped it. So supposedly that makes it taste better. I don't know how that works, but we breaded it and almost fried it, like fried antelope. I remember like it was so good. I couldn't believe how good it was. Like I was dumbfounded because people were like, antelope tastes like crap, tastes like you're eating a goat. I'm like, well, they kind of are a goat, but um, that might be a hot take, and that's okay. But the other one
No,
I'll go
we
with
love antelope
is,
around here.
yeah, the other one I'll go with is pheasant jalapeno poppers because, like I said, we're big upland bird hunters, and so we make a lot of those with our pheasants and stuff like that. We'll fry them on the Traeger. Yeah,
Yeah, like a jalapeno, like cream cheese, pheasant, jalapeno, wrap it, bacon.
rapid bacon. Yep, fried on the
Okay.
Traeger.
Nice. Yep. Gotta love the Traeger. That antelope must have been good. I hope my kids look back when they and say, like, when I was like 12 or 10, that must have been a good meal to remember it that long
Uh,
ago. I
yeah,
hope
it
my kids can
was.
remember that.
It
That's
was.
awesome. Good job, Dad. So, what would you prefer? Elk hunt, deer hunt, or upland game?
Oh, jeez.
I
I
know.
I I think now I've killed my fair share of mule deer, and I've been on a lot of mule deer hunts with a lot of people.
Hmm.
I would love to go on a limited entry bull tag, for sure, like prime rut during the bow hunt.
Okay. Yeah.
That's like on my bucket list within the next 5 years. I don't care where it's at. If it's Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Arizona, I really don't care. I'm gonna make it happen. So
Yeah. I'm rooting for you. There's nothing
thank,
like it. I hope you get to
thank you,
experience that. It's pretty cool.
thank you.
What is the most beautiful place you've hunted?
Oh, most beautiful place I've hunted. This is hard. Um, can we count shed hunting?
Totally. Yeah, we'll count shed
Okay,
hunting.
okay. Um,
I know
I
you don't want to give your spots away, so you can
yeah,
describe it
no,
if you want to.
no. Well, so like I said, I'm from Utah, and we went down by Zion's. We rode horses down by Zion's, kind of down in that area where it was red rock cliffs and like there was bighorn sheep and stuff like that. And like I got up here, we don't really have any of that up north, and so riding red rock like through the red rocks on horses and finding deer sheds is like so cool. That was last week.
Beautiful. Perfect. Something new.
Yeah,
I love it. Gotta love Utah and all the different changes you get in
yeah,
scenery. Okay,
seriously.
so where's the dream hunt you want to go on?
Ala-
Anywhere in the world?
Alaska.
Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Hunting what?
A moose, bull moose.
And who are you taking with you?
I would definitely take my dad, for sure. My dad and my brother, I think, are the top two. And then from there, I'd want to take my grandpa. Um, yeah.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
but for sure,
Well,
my
for the
dad.
sake of the game, this is make believe. I'm gonna let you take all of them because I love that whole answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything, anything for the sake of Alaska. What is one piece of gear you can't live without?
One piece of gear I can't live without. My staple recently has been a Diet Mountain Dew in my saddlebag of my on my horse.
Just
That's
as you got to wait till
just
you're like how far in before you crack it open.
it's definitely a lunchtime. It's definitely a lunchtime
Okay.
drink for sure. Yeah, I would. So that's for food. Other than that though,
Yeah.
like actual piece of gear, I wouldn't be able to live without my Vortex Razor HDs. Those are awesome. Those are my favorite. So
Yeah.
those two things for sure.
You got to be able
If
to see
you,
stuff. That's fair.
yeah, if you put me on a horse and gave me a couple bottles of Diet Mountain Dew and my binoculars, I'd be like, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. So
We could be friends because you started with like what's in your pack and it started with food and then you went to like the adventure. So I
have
we're
to.
one of the same. I get it. What's one thing that people misunderstand about you?
Um, I've had a lot of people tell me that I am intimidating. When I feel like I'm like probably one of the nicest people you ever meet. But um, yeah, like a lot of my friends that didn't know me before we were friends, they're like, dude, you were like the most intimidating guy ever. Like even people that I'm friends with now after my accident, they're like, I used to know if we could talk to you. Like you seemed like you lost your leg in like the army and you were like this army vet or something. And I'm like, guys, come on. Like I'm not that. I don't look that mean. Like,
Yeah.
so a
Maybe
lot of
you have
people say I'm
RBF and you
intimidating.
don't know it.
Oh, I have major RBF, especially at the gym. The gym's the worst.
Same. I'm
So
just speaking from experience. So,
yeah,
yeah.
major RBF.
Well, that's good to know. Hunter's pretty nice, you guys. He's not that
I am.
intimidating.
I'm very
Yeah.
nice.
What adventures do you have coming up? What do we have to look forward to for adventures to see from you on the horizon? And then it sounds like you have a surgery coming up in May as well.
Yeah, so just that surgery in May. Quite a bit of horse riding the next month and a half or so. Uh, Looking for horns. We're gonna try and find some elk sheds here in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And then this fall, we're hoping to actually plan that trip back to North and South Dakota in November that we didn't get to go on.
Yeah,
So that's the goal
that would
for
be
this year.
amazing.
Yeah. So, but other than that, after my surgery, I just got to take it nice and slow and recover so then I can actually hunt this fall is my goal. So, yes.
Did you plan that when you were doing surgery? Like, how long's recovery? Because I have a hunt come
I
August.
no, unfortunately I couldn't. I couldn't. I wanted to get it done like last month, but I have to wait. So,
Yeah.
I would
I
have
know
skipped shed
sometimes
hunting
it's not
season.
always like that.
No, no. I would have skipped shed hunting season even though I love shed hunting to recover and to get into the summer and fall, but it's all right. We get a shed hunt. I'll be a little bit miserable in the summer with recovery and not being able to swim or anything like that, and that's okay. But
Mhm.
I'll be able to ready for fall. So
Good. Yeah. So live up all those shed hunts. Make sure you share all the shed
yes,
finds. Cracking up,
yes,
open your Mountain Dew out of the saddlebag, all the fun stuff.
yes,
Where can everybody find you, Hunter?
yeah. My Instagram is the number one underscore legged underscore hunter, or if you just look up Hunter Rasmussen, it should come up too. Um,
And
and
I
that's
had no idea that your
yeah.
actual name was Hunter till you submitted in. I was just thought like you were the
Well,
one-legged
one legged.
hunter. Like you said, it all worked out so well.
Uh-huh. It's a two-way meaning. It's kind of funny how
I
that
love it.
name came. It's kind of funny how that name came about. Um, because after my accident, I remember coming home from the hospital and I had like over 200 text messages from different people, and I was just like, I'm grateful that so many people are checking on me, but I do not want to respond to all of these. Like I was just like not in the mood. And so my parents like, why don't you start an Instagram and we'll repost it on ours, and everyone can follow you and you can give like weekly updates. And I'm like, all right. And so we were just sitting there, and like when you create a new account, it's like, what's your username? And I was like, what's my username? And my dad's like, one-legged hunter. And I'm like, deal, got it, two-way meeting. So I've just stuck with that. So
I love it. Leave it to
yeah,
dad.
Yep. So,
That's fun. It sounds like you have an incredible family and you guys have been able to laugh and enjoy through everything that's been thrown
oh
your way.
yeah, for sure. My parents are amazing. So it helps having good parents for sure. So
Well, everyone, make sure that you go over and follow Hunter and follow along with his adventures. Again, I really do appreciate you walking through your story and getting to know you a little bit better because, like I said, through the short snippets I've seen on Instagram, I've really been curious about who is Hunter behind the one legged Hunter. So it's been
yeah,
really fun to get to know you and hear your story, and definitely some incredible lessons learned along the way, both through being outside and being safe and also just taking care of yourself and pushing through the hard stuff. So thank you, Hunter.
yeah. Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate you having me
You're
on.
welcome.